The slap echoed across the wedding reception as my daughter screamed at me in front of 200 guests. "You've ruined everything, Mom. I wish you were never born." But when I started laughing and pulled out my phone, her face went white. She had no idea what I was about to show everyone. "Hi everyone, I'm Maya and I'm 58 years old. I worked double shifts as a hospital nurse for 25 years to give my daughter Emma everything I never had. I wasn't wealthy or connected, but I had something more powerful than money: the truth. I saved every penny, sacrificed my own dreams, and put Emma through college and law school. She was supposed to be my pride and joy, the successful daughter who'd finally make our family proud. But money and success can change people in ways you never expect. If you've ever been betrayed by the child you sacrificed everything for, subscribe right now and tell me in the comments what country you're watching from. I read every single one. Emma's wedding day was supposed to be perfect. An $80,000 event at the Grand Ballroom downtown. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and white roses filled every corner. The smell of expensive perfume mixed with champagne floated through the air. What the guests didn't know was that I had secretly helped fund this dream wedding with $40,000 from my retirement savings. I wore my best dress, a navy blue one I'd saved 3 months to buy. Emma had approved it when I showed her the picture. "It's fine, Mom," she'd said. "Just don't draw attention to yourself." But when the wealthy in-laws arrived, everything changed. Emma pulled me aside near the entrance, her white dress rustling against the marble floor. "Mom, I need you to meet Richard's parents." She led me over to an elegant couple in their 60s. The man wore a perfectly tailored tuxedo, and the woman's diamond necklace caught the light. "Richard's parents, this is Maya," Emma said, her voice strangely distant. "She's just the help who raised me after my father left." Oh, Maya did her best with what little she had. Thank God I made something of myself despite my upbringing. The words hit me like ice water. "Just the help?" I stood there frozen as Richard's mother smiled politely. "How nice," she said, her tone making it clear she wasn't interested in talking to me. Before I could respond, a wedding planner approached with a clipboard. "Excuse me, Maya, you're sitting at the staff table in the back." "Staff table?" I looked at Emma confused. "Honey, there must be a mistake." Emma's cheeks flushed pink. "Mom, don't make a scene. You know this isn't your crowd." Her voice was sharp, like she was scolding a child. I felt the eyes of 200 guests watching as the wedding planner escorted me to a small round table behind a decorative pillar. The cheap plastic chairs creaked as I sat down, hidden from view of the main reception. The tablecloth was wrinkled, and there were no flowers, just salt and pepper shakers and paper napkins. From my corner, I watched Emma laugh and dance with people I'd never met. Richard's mother leaned over to whisper something to another guest, glancing in my direction. I caught her words clearly. I can see why Emma works so hard to distance herself. My chest tightened. 25 years of night shifts. 25 years of buying Emma's school clothes at thrift stores so she could have money for college textbooks. And this was how she saw me, as someone to distance herself from. But the real humiliation was just beginning. During the speeches, Emma stood up in her flowing white gown, holding a crystal glass of champagne. The room fell silent as she spoke into the microphone. "I want to thank everyone who matters," she began, her voice carrying across the ballroom. "My husband Richard, for showing me what real love looks like. Richard's parents, for welcoming me into their family and teaching me about success and class. My college professors, who believed in me. My law firm partners, who saw my potential." She continued for 5 minutes, naming friends, mentors, even her wedding planner, but never once did she mention my name. I sat at my hidden table, listening to the applause, feeling invisible. Richard's father took the microphone next. His voice boomed with confidence. "We're so grateful Emma found our family. Clearly, she needed the guidance of successful people to reach her full potential." The guests laughed and clapped. I felt sick to my stomach. After the speeches, I gathered my courage and approached Emma near the dessert table. The sweet smell of vanilla cake filled the air, but I had no appetite. "Honey," I said quietly, "why didn't you mention me in your speech?" Emma turned to face me, her makeup perfect, her smile fake. "What would I say? Thanks for being poor and holding me back?" Her words were like a slap. I stared at her, this beautiful woman in white silk, and wondered where my little girl had gone. 20 minutes later, I was walking past the ladies' restroom when I heard familiar voices. The door was slightly open, and Emma was inside with 3 of her bridesmaids. Their laughter echoed off the marble walls. "I'm finally free from all that lower-class baggage," Emma was saying. "Richard's family has real class. They understand what it means to be successful." "Didn't your mom help raise you?" one bridesmaid asked. Emma's voice turned cold. "I told them my mom was just a distant relative who helped out sometimes. She doesn't understand my world now." I pressed my back against the wall outside the restroom, my heart breaking. My own daughter was erasing me from her story, ashamed of the woman who had sacrificed everything for her dreams. But Emma wasn't done humiliating me yet. An hour later, I was standing near the bar when Emma stormed over. Her face was flushed with anger, and several guests turned to watch. "You're embarrassing me in front of Richard's colleagues," she hissed. "Couldn't you have tried harder with your appearance?" I looked down at my navy dress, the one she'd approved. "Emma, you said this dress was fine. I spent my last $300 on it." "That's exactly my point." Emma's voice got louder. "You have no idea how to fit into my world. You don't understand class or sophistication." Guests were openly staring now. Some pulled out their phones. The music seemed to fade as Emma's words cut through the air. "I worked hard to get here," she continued, her voice rising. "And I won't let you drag me down with your poverty mentality." I stood there, feeling the weight of 200 pairs of eyes on me. Emma was publicly shaming me at her own wedding, treating me like I was nothing, like all those years of love and sacrifice meant nothing. But what Emma didn't know was that I'd been keeping records. For months, I'd watched my daughter build her new life on lies, and I'd been documenting every single one. While Emma continued her public display, I quietly pulled out my phone. I scrolled through months of text messages, my heart heavy, but my resolve growing stronger. Emma told Richard's family she was completely self-made, but the evidence on my phone told a different story. "Just 3 weeks ago, Mom, please transfer $2,000 for wedding flowers. I told Richard you were helping, but don't tell his parents." 2 months ago, "Can you cover my student loan payment this month? I can't let Richard know I'm still in debt." And dozens more just like them. Every time Emma needed money, she came to me. Every time she was in trouble, I was her first call. But in public, I was just the help. I had bank records showing my $40,000 contribution to this very wedding money Emma claimed Richard's family had paid. I had screenshots of her begging me to cover her law school loans that she'd told Richard were already paid off. For months, I'd watched my successful daughter live a lie, using my money while being ashamed of my existence. I wanted to believe Emma was just nervous about fitting in, but her cruelty had been building for months, and tonight she'd gone too far. My longtime friend Carol had been hired as the wedding photographer. She'd been quietly moving around the reception, capturing moments, but I could see the concern in her eyes. She'd witnessed everything. Carol approached my table during the chaos of Emma's public scolding. "Maya," she whispered, "I've been watching this all night. Emma's treating you terribly." She sat down beside me, her camera hanging around her neck. "I overheard something earlier that you need to know." Emma was coaching the bridesmaids in the getting ready room. She told them, "Don't mention anything about my mom's background to Richard's family." My heart sank even lower. Emma had been planning this humiliation all along. Just then, my brother Tom arrived late to the reception. He'd driven 3 hours from Chicago, still wearing his work clothes. Tom looked around the elegant ballroom, searching for familiar faces. When he spotted me hidden behind the pillar, his face darkened with confusion. "Maya, what are you doing back here?" Before I could answer, Emma appeared at our table, her wedding dress swishing angrily. "Uncle Tom, you're supposed to be at table 6. Tom stood up, his jaw tight. "Your mother paid for half this wedding. Why is she sitting in the back like she's uninvited?" Emma's carefully constructed mask began to crack. "She embarrasses me. Look at her. She doesn't belong with these people." "These people?" Tom's voice got louder. "You mean the people whose money you've been taking for years?" Emma's eyes flashed with rage. "I'm tired of pretending she's anything more than the single mom who held me back. I've worked hard to get where I am, and I won't let her poverty drag me down anymore." The confrontation was drawing attention. Richard's parents were staring. Guests were pulling out phones again. Emma was losing control, and she knew it. That's when she snapped. Emma turned to face me, her hand raised high, and slapped me across the face with a sound that echoed through the entire ballroom. The crystal chandeliers seemed to shake from the silence that followed. "You've ruined everything, Mom. I wish you were never born. 200 guests stood frozen, champagne glasses halfway to their lips. The wedding band stopped playing. Even the waitstaff stopped moving. Everyone stared at the bride who just assaulted her own mother. But instead of crying or running away, I started laughing. It wasn't a bitter laugh or a crazy laugh. It was the laugh of someone who'd finally seen enough. Emma's face went from angry red to pale white as I reached into my purse and pulled out my phone. "Oh, Emma," I said, my voice carrying clearly through the silent ballroom. "You have no idea what you've just done." I stood up slowly, my phone in my hand, and walked to the center of the dance floor. Every eye in the room was on me. "Since you want to air our business publicly, let's do this right," I said, holding up my phone so everyone could see the screen. I began reading Emma's recent text messages aloud, my voice steady and clear. "Mom, please transfer $2,000 for wedding flowers. I told Richard you were helping, but don't tell his parents." Emma's face went white as I scrolled to the next message. "Can you cover my student loan payment this month? I can't let Richard know I'm still in debt." Guests started murmuring. Some were already recording with their phones. Richard looked confused and hurt. I opened my banking app and showed the transfer receipts on my phone screen. "This wedding cost $80,000. Emma told you all that Richard's family paid for it." I paused, looking directly at Richard's parents. "I paid $40,000 of my retirement savings for this day." Emma tried to grab my phone. "Mom, stop, you're ruining everything." I stepped back calmly. "I'm not ruining anything, sweetheart. I'm just telling the truth you've been hiding." Richard's voice cracked as he spoke. "Emma, you told me your family couldn't contribute anything to the wedding." I continued, my voice growing stronger. "Emma also told her husband she has no student debt, but I've been paying $800 monthly for 2 years to keep her loans current." Richard's parents looked stunned as they realized Emma had built her entire relationship on lies. The successful, independent lawyer they'd welcomed into their family was actually financially dependent on the woman she'd just publicly humiliated. I addressed the crowd of guests, my voice carrying to every corner of the ballroom. "I worked double shifts for 25 years to give Emma opportunities. I sacrificed my own dreams, my own retirement, my own happiness, and she's ashamed of the woman who sacrificed everything for her success." Emma broke down crying, but it was too late. The damage was done. Guests were already sharing videos on social media. Her carefully constructed image was crumbling in real time. Richard stood there in shock, looking between his sobbing bride and the mother who just exposed years of lies. His parents whispered urgently to each other, their faces filled with disappointment. I quietly gathered my purse and approached Emma one final time. The ballroom was still silent, except for her crying. "I love you, Emma," I said softly, "but I won't be your secret shame anymore." Emma looked up at me through her tears. "Mom, please don't leave. I can explain." I shook my head. "You made your choice when you slapped me. Now live with it." I pulled an envelope from my purse and placed it in her trembling hands. "This contains every receipt for money I've given you over the past 2 years. You can pay me back when you're ready to tell the truth." I walked toward the exit, my head held high. The crowd of elegant guests parted to let me through. I could hear Emma crying behind me, Richard's confused questions, and the whispered conversations starting to buzz through the room. As I pushed through the heavy glass doors and stepped into the cool night air, I took my first deep breath in hours. For the first time in years, their silence didn't hurt me. It freed me. I finally understood that respect can't be bought, even with a mother's love. My phone was already buzzing with calls from family members who'd seen the videos online, but I turned it off and walked to my car, feeling lighter than I had in years. Emma had wanted to erase me from her story, but now everyone knew the truth. The successful lawyer with the perfect wedding was built on her mother's sacrifices and her mother's money, and no amount of shame or slapping could change that fact. Has anyone in your family ever been ashamed of you for not being successful enough? Hit subscribe and share your story in the comments below. I want to hear from parents who sacrificed everything only to be treated like an embarrassment. Drop your country in the comments. I'm amazed by how many of you are watching from around the world. Your sacrifices matter, and your story deserves to be heard. Share it with our community. On your screen, 2 stories are calling you. Click and watch them now. Each one more gripping than the last.